Welcome back to the #1 sportscast in the world, where we give full card predictions and a betting breakdown. Make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn on those post notifications and share this video as well. UFC Vegas 77, Holm vs. Silva. I'm looking forward to breaking down this card. But before we do that, let's go ahead and recap UFC 290 along with our bets.
And our 3-week winning streak comes to an end as we lose 2.10 units at UFC 290, but I'll take it, man. What a card, what a fight night for UFC, man. It's been a long time since I've been blown away from a fight, pay-per-view like that by the UFC in a long time, man. We had the prelims delivered, the main card delivered. The 2 title fights were absolutely insane, man. Just finishes throughout the whole card, Martin. We had 4 first-round knockouts within the first 30 seconds, a new UFC record. And Aguilar, absolutely dusted Ross. We had Gomes cashed in as a plus 330 underdog, slept Yasmin in that fight. Man, just absolutely unreal results on that card. We had the Robbie Lawler retirement fight where... Actually, it's one of my favorite moments we've actually had on this show, Martin. I had originally picked Robbie Lawler, and I had picked Price, and you switched me up live on the show. We don't talk about our picks before, and then right then and there, your breakdown convinced me to switch on Lawler, and sure enough, bro, what does he do? He goes out and dusts Nikki Price in 30 seconds, man. Absolutely unreal. The UFC killed it with their retirement montage for him. Super emotional stuff. Absolutely insane. And then Bo Nickel followed up with another 30-second knockout. Pretty surprising to see him get stuffed on the takedowns, but then find that knockout with his hands, man. Just super exciting. The crowd goes crazy. And then we have to talk about what killed us, what made us lose money. And it was me putting my foot down, going head-to-head, threatening to walk out on the show with Robert Whittaker versus Dricus Du Plessis. Martin was heavy on Dricus Du Plessis, and he said, hey man, I'm not downing Robert Whittaker, but dude, he is picking Dricus, and I called him a clown, not Martin, but Dricus. I said he's not on the same level as Rob Whittaker. I really made myself look dumb. I'm surprised Martin's letting me host right now, because he was actually on Dricus, and he was also on Dan Hooker, man. He tried to tell me not to pick Jalen Turner, not to parlay Jalen Turner, and I didn't listen, man, and it cost us. So just unreal stuff. Then we had the Pantoja fight, one of the best fights I've seen in years, man. That fight was blood and guts. Just warrior stuff from right there from those two. Happy for Pantoja and New. We actually hit his money line plus 170. And then that title fight, Volkanovski might be the greatest fighter, definitely the best featherweight fighter of all time, but he's approaching GOAT status in my opinion, Martin, and just a high level fight night, dude. One of those where it gets your blood going for sure. And we have to come back down to earth for UFC Vegas 77. Not the best card, but I think there are some good matchups and a lot of good money lines that I am looking at to bet. So let's try to start a new winning streak this week with Holly Holm versus Silva.
Opening up the card, taking place in the women's bantamweight division, we have Ashlee Rebel Girl Evans Smith. She's 6-5. You can catch her odds at a plus 125. She's 36 years old, 5'8", with a 67.5 reach, and she's taking on Ailin Fiona Perez. She's 7-2, a slight favorite at a minus 150. 28 years old, 5'5", with a 66-inch reach. FE.
Yeah, man, and a fight between 2 different styles here. We have the striker and Ashlee Evans Smith taking on Fiona here, and I'm going to go with Fiona to win this fight. And listen, I know Martin said the line was minus 150, but money's been coming in on Perez, pushing her to minus 210, minus 200, and at that price, I can't bet her money line. But I do think that she's going to win this fight. A few things that, are kind of concerning me from outside the octagon for Ashlee Evans Smith here. She hasn't fought in 2 years, Martin. That's a long layoff. She's serving a steroid suspension, but it wasn't like she was taking a bunch of Chernobyl. She was got caught for a small, substance, whatever. But before that, before her inactivity, she wasn't very good to begin with, man. She's 6-5, and she was getting pieced up in her last fight by Norma Dumont. Like I said, she's a striker to where I think that Ailin Perez will be able to push Ashlee Evans Smith to the warning track, get her down, and really rack up control time to win a decision or get a finish on the mat. So give me Perez. Can't touch that minus 200 money line at this point, but I do think that she's a safe pick to win this fight via decision.
Next up in the lightweight division, we have Carl Deaton III. He's 17-6. You can catch his odds at a plus 120. He's 33 years old. He's 5'7", with a 67-inch reach. And he's taking on Alex Munoz. He's 6-2, a slight favorite. You can catch his odds at a minus 150. He's 33 years old, 5'9", with a 72-inch reach. FE.
And I'll be honest, guys, the only reason Carl Dean even is in the UFC is because Joe Solecki needed an opponent on short notice, and Carl Dean was the guy that got the call. I'll be honest, I don't think that he's UFC level. He's a more of a well-rounded fighter. He's not really a specialist in one area, but he does have good wrestling, good grappling. It's probably his best area. Whereas Munoz is a way better wrestler than him, in my opinion, and a better striker. I know Munoz is coming off another 2-year layoff, just like Ashlee Evans Smith was last fight, kind of a theme so far. But I do think that he's an overall way better MMA fighter, has a way higher level of competition, and should be able to get this fight to the mat, his area of expertise, and win a decision or get it finished, much similar to that last fight. I do think that Munoz is a safe moneyline play here. Carl Deaton was losing minutes on the feet to Justin James on the regional scene. Not a good look in my opinion. And so I'm not impressed with him. So give me Munoz to win via decision.
Next up in the flyweight division, we have Tyson Nam. He's 21-13. Actually, hold on. Keep this going and cut this out. And action. Next up in the flyweight division, we have Tyson Nam. He's 21-13-1, a moderate underdog at a plus 320. He's 39 years old, 5'7" with a 68-inch reach, and he's taking on Azat Maksum. He's 16-0, a huge favorite at a minus 420. He's 28 years old, 5'8", FE.
And wow, man, what a pronunciation there by my producer Martin there. Just give it up right there real quick. Yeah, man, minus 400, minus 420 on a guy making his debut. And for good reason, man. He's fighting Tyson Nam, 39 years old at flyweight. You never want to see that. Just got finished in his most recent fight. And this European kid, man, undefeated prospect, and super well-rounded, man. This guy can crack. But I will say, the way I'm looking at this fight is, I do think that Tyson Nam is, quote-unquote, a live underdog, mispriced underdog at that price. That line is wide. I mean, we've seen Tyson Nam in the UFC time and time again. He knocked out Ode Osborne. He gave Matt Schnell a good fight. Like I said, I know he got clubbed and subbed in his most recent fight, but he's not a bad fighter. More of a counterpuncher, has really good knockout power. But that's the thing. He seems to be too much one-sided, one-dimensional. Tyson Nam, relying on that one fight changing punch. And I think that Azat will be able to push him to the warning track and get him down. I think that there won't be too many times spent on the feet in this fight. I think that we're going to be seeing the grappling in this fight, and I don't think that Nam will be making it to the decision. I know he's very durable, but I think that on the mat it won't go so good for him. So at that price, minus 400, minus 420, a little bit wide for someone making their debut, in my opinion. So I'm going to have to pass on the money line, but I am looking at fight doesn't go the distance.
Next up in the lightweight division, we have Genaro Valdez. He's 10-2. You can catch his odds at a plus 230. He's 31 years old, 5'9" with a 72-inch reach. And he's taking on Evan the Phenom Elder. He's 7-2. You can catch his odds at a minus 295. He's 26 years old, 5'10" with a 71-inch reach. FV.
This is going to be a banger of a fight, Martin. Super excited for this fight because both guys are fighting for their UFC contracts here. Very likely whoever loses this fight is going to get cut from the UFC. They're in a very deep division. And you got to be winning their fights, man. I'm sorry. It's got to be a cold world sometimes. But I am going with Elder to win this fight. And it's funny, man. In his most recent fight, I actually bet against him. And he had me sweating, man. He was up 2-0 on his opponent. And if it weren't for a knee that sliced his eyebrow open and they called the fight, he probably would have won that fight. He probably would have dropped round 3. But he was up 2 to none on all the judges' scorecards. So this guy is good, well-rounded, good grappling, good offensive combinations. Whereas Valdez is very, very hittable, and I think that's what's going to cost him in this fight. When we saw him get dropped over and over again against Matt Favola, and we saw him get dropped in his last fight. So this guy is an exciting fighter. I will give him that. So he does have that going for him. But I do think that Evan Elder will utilize his fight IQ and really take this safely because he can't afford to lose this fight. And I do think that he is a better overall MMA fighter. So give me Evan Elder to win via decision.
Next up in the welterweight division, we have Jack Della Madalena. He's 14-2. You can catch his odds at a minus 625. He's 26 years old. He's 5'11" with a 73-inch reach. And he's taking on Bassil Hafez. He's 8-3-1, a heavy underdog. You can catch his odds at a plus 450. 31 years old. He's 5'11". FE.
Yeah, man, short notice replacement here. I'm just happy Jack got this fight. He was supposed to be on the UFC 290 card, super stacked card. Sucks that Sean Brady ended up having to pull out with that infection in his elbow. They can't get him a fight for the 290. It was too late, but they will get Jack Della Madalena a fight on this card. And that's for all of us. That's good for all of us, man, because we're going to see a very high-level fighter in Jack Della Madalena, Martin. This dude can box, man. This dude has clean hands. He'll crack you. He'll split your guard up top. He'll go to the body, make you, crush your ribs. This dude is really good. Okay takedown defense and okay get-ups, which you probably will need to, clean up as he gets further along in the division. But I do think that he should knock out this dude in the first round. His opponent's coming off a first round knockout, actually, and it's the only one in his career. He's more of a wrestler, so I will be interested to see how his opponent approaches that first round. Martin, you know how wrestlers are, especially on short notice. If a dude goes out and tries to wrestle in that first round and has success against Jack Della Madalena, I don't know how he's going to look in that second and third round. So I do think that Jack will be able to sprawl and brawl, keep this upright, and just light this dude up who's on very short notice. Jack Della Madalena is the truth, guys. First round knockout.
Next up in the featherweight division, we have Austin Lights Out Lingo. He's 9-2. You can catch his odds at a plus 160. He's 29 years old, 5'10" with a 70-inch reach, and he's taking on Melquizael Costa. He's 19-6. You can catch his odds at a minus 195. He's 26 years old, 5'10" with a 73-inch reach. FE.
And here we go, Martin. This is where our betting night will start, as I took a 1 unit shot on Mel Costa at minus 200 to try and snatch up a quick half unit here. And I actually might add more on his KO prop. I do think that Costa is going to knock out this guy Lingo in this fight. And don't get me wrong, Lingo is a good fighter, good quality striker, a good IQ on the feet. But Costa, on the other hand, is a young guy, younger guy by a lot. And I think that he has the defensive takedown ability here to stay on the feet and win a striking fight. I do like Costa's variety in his kicks. He can go low, he can go high, and he is quick, man. He impressed me on short notice against Thiago Moises in that fight where he did get taken down, and it was the grappling that was, what led to him losing that fight. But, dude, Thiago Moises picked up and dumped Islam Makhachev. I'm not really that concerned about him getting taken down by Thiago Moises on short notice. And he is from the same camp as Charles Oliveira, shoot a box, man. So I know he's going to be good off his back. He's very active on his guard, has good get-ups. He's very strong in the clinch, can dig his underhooks, reverse positions. I think he's a better striker than Lingo here. So even if it does get on the ground, if it does get in the clinch, I expect Costa to hold his own here. Like I said, a young guy, up-and-coming guy. Give me a 1 unit shot on Costa to win at minus 200.
Next up in the women's strawweight division, we have Istella Nunes. She's 6-4. You can catch her odds at a plus 230. She's 30 years old, 5'4" with a 66-inch reach, and she's taking on Viktoriya Dudakova. She's 6-0, a moderate favorite at a minus 290. She's 24 years old, 5'5" with a 67-inch reach. FE.
And similar to the other women's MMA fight that started the card off, to pay that money line price on someone that has never won a UFC fight is something that I just can't do. I do think that Viktoriya is going to win this fight, but Istella Nunes actually looks good in fights that she loses. In the beginning, up until she starts to fade. In her last fight, man, she dropped Yasmin in that first round, ended up fading again to finish herself. And previously to that, she was out-grappled by Sam Hughes and Andrea Carnelosi, the girl that probably has eaten the most steroids out of anyone on the UFC roster. So I don't really blame her for getting out-grappled by those two, maybe Sam Hughes, but it's really her defensive grappling, that tends to cost her fights in the UFC, which is not a good look fighting this undefeated 6-0 Russian grappler, man. Viktoriya actually impressed me in that Dana White Contender Series. I know it went to decision, and you usually think that you have to finish fights in the Contender Series, but she was actually injured in that fight, Martin. She was still able to push through and get those takedowns, but she strikes me as someone that appears to be a little too one-dimensional, very, very much so reliant on that grappling. And if Istella Nunes can, get up as the fight gets extended and stuff those takedowns, who knows? This could get interesting. But I do think that Viktoriya, is progressing in her career. She hasn't fought the level of competition as Istella, so that is something to look for. But like I said, that money line, dude, it's climbing. Minus 300 and higher now at this point for the debutante Viktoriya. And I can't touch it, man. I'm going to pass. Go ahead and look at that over 2.5. Fight goes to the decision. But, man, it's worrisome because I'm worried that Nunes is going to get finished on the mat if it does get there for extended minutes of time. So give me Viktoriya to win this fight via decision.
Opening up the main card, taking place in the lightweight division, we have Terrance T-Rex McKinney. He's 13-5. You can catch his odds at a plus 125. He's 28 years old, 5'10", with a 73.5-inch reach. And he's taking on Nazim Black Wolf Sadykhov. He's 8-1, a minus 155. He's 29 years old, 5'10", with a 69-inch reach. FE.
Yeah, man, and this money line is starting to get a little more tight with money coming in on Terrance McKinney, and I'm one of those people, man. I have a half unit shot on Terrance McKinney here, and I'm thinking about that round 1 TKO prop for McKinney, man. I'm sure that's going to be a juicy number, and that's his path to victory, in my opinion. It is worrisome betting on Terrance McKinney at this point, man. Chin, it could be suspect. The cardio could be suspect. He death gasses after 1 round. You know, he hasn't really had success if his fights go past the first round. All of his finishes are coming in the first round. All of his wins are either in that first or second round, I should say. And he's deadly, man. Very athletic, very explosive, Terrance McKinney. And he's fighting Nazim, who was down in his UFC debut. He actually fought Elves Elder, who we talked about earlier in the card. And he was down 2 rounds to 0. And he needed to get a doctor's stoppage to win his most recent UFC fight, where we had money on him. And I think that, man, I think if Terrance McKinney lands clean on Nazim here, I think he's going to put him out early, man. I really do think that Terrance McKinney has the upside in this fight, especially at plus 120, which is what I took him at. So give me Terrance McKinney to win. I'm going to go with a first round knockout, but I wouldn't be surprised, Martin, to see him use that grappling. He's a very good grappler, a very good wrestler. It's just that might, gas him out a little earlier than he wants. So I kind of want to see how he approaches the fight, but I'm very confident in Terrance McKinney, man. Give me Terrance McKinney, first round knockout.
Next up in the lightweight division, we have Ottman Bulldozer Azaitar. He's 13-1. You can catch his odds at a plus 110. He's 33 years old, 5'8" with a 71-inch reach. And he's taking on Francisco Prado. He's 11-1. You can catch his odds at a minus 135. He's 21 years old, 5'11" with a 76-inch reach. FE.
So an absolute banger on this fight, dude. Someone is going to get slept. Between the two fighters, there's 24 professional wins. 23 have come via finish, all right? So someone's going to get finished. Prado has finished every single one of his wins, and Azaitar has finished every single one except for 1. And we all know Ottman at this point. The guy got kicked off of Fight Island for having someone sneak in a bag, according to him, of potatoes. And the UFC caught that guy. This is during COVID, so they're super serious with their security. And they almost cut Azaitar, I believe. He's managed by Ali Abdelaziz, so I'm sure they pulled some springs to get him back in. But then he came back and got knocked out in his most recent fight by Matt Frivola. A fight where he looked lost, man. He looked bad. He looked delirious. He looked like just in slow motion. I don't know what was going on with Ottman. I don't know if he ate some bad potatoes or what, man. So it's very worrisome to me where he's fighting Prado here, who can crack, dude. Prado, gave a good showing for himself against someone like Jamie Mullarkey in his most recent fight. He did lose the fight, but, he's a good up-and-coming fighter. But I do think that this is a big level of jump, from his most recent opponent in Mullarkey to now Azaitar. I understand Azaitar got knocked out by Frivola in his last fight. Who knows, might be off of steroids now. But I do think that Ottman has fought the higher level guys and is a very dangerous fighter in his own right. So I'm not going to lay it on Prado moneyline, and I'm not going to lay it on Azaitar moneyline. But I do think that someone gets knocked out. Maybe try to find a book where you can find fight ends in a knockout prop. That'd be some pretty fun bet to watch during this fight. But dude, this one should be a banger. The card, doesn't have that much name value, but this fight should deliver. Someone's gonna get cracked, and I'm going with Ottman to win via knockout in that first round.
Up in the co-main event, we have Albert Duraev. He's 16-4. You can catch his odds at a plus 130. He's 34 years old, 5'11" with a 75-inch reach. And he's taking on Jean the Iron Turtle Young Park. He's 16-5. You can catch his odds at a minus 160. He's 32 years old, 5'10" with a 73-inch reach. FE.
I'm going to break down both these fighters' game plans in some simple terms. 5 words for Park: sprawl and brawl, and survive. Just keep it on the feet, sprawl and brawl, try to survive that first round, and you can win this fight against Duraev. Whereas Duraev, his game plan is let's wrestle. All right, 2 words for him. This guy is going to try to brutally take down Park in this fight over and over and over again while trying not to gas out. And I do think that Duraev does have the wrestling to get this fight down in that first round. It's just that if he can't find that finish, and if it does get extended, I do worry for Duraev. That Roman Kopylov win is actually aging really well. It was a good win to have under his UFC belt. But dude, Joaquin Buckley, the undersized guy, was sparking and lighting up Duraev so much that his eye got swollen and they had to stop the fight, man. Pretty bad look in my opinion. But Park, I don't really rate him with the speed of someone like Buckley. He's more of a well-rounded fighter in my opinion, Iron Turtle that is. I've bet against him before, and I don't know if I'm going to bet against him here because I don't like betting on guys that are so one-dimensional, like someone like Duraev. But I do think that if he does have that big of a gap when it does hit the mat, that it might be worth playing. So when it does get to the mat, I think that he's going to be able to hold Park down and keep him down. So, man, it's tough to go against Duraev. So I'm going to go with the Russian here, Duraev, the underdog pick, to win via TKO stoppage in that second round via ground and pound.
Next up in the main event, taking place in the women's bantamweight division, we have Holly the Preacher's daughter Holm. She's 15-6. You can catch her odds at a -165. She's 41 years old, 5'8" with a 69-inch reach. And she's taking on Mayra Shatara Bueno Silva. She's 10-2-1. You can catch her odds at a +135. She's 31 years old, 5'6" with a 66.5-inch reach. FE.
Absolutely wild stuff that Holly Holm is still headlining fights in the UFC in the year 2023, man. Just goes to show how good she is, how long, durable she is, and just a high-level fighter that she is, man. Hats off to her. But I do think that this fight will be a fight between two different types of fighters. We have the moment winner in Silva. Her punches, her strikes will be landing heavy on Holly Holm here. And we have the minute winner in Holly Holm, who will probably be winning the clinch positions in this fight and getting ahead on the points in this fight. It's funny to see Holly Holm, take a more of a clinch-heavy, grapple-heavy approach in her most recent fights. And she's doing good at it, I'll be honest, man. Nothing against her. You got to do what you got to do to win these fights, get that money. And we have Bueno Silva on the other side. Very powerful striker, good hands, very good pull counters. And she really puts the pressure on a lot of fighters. But I do think that Holly Holm will be able to nullify her power in the clinch, get her down, and really press her along the cage wrestle here a ton of times, like how she has been. And she obviously has that experience. She obviously has that high level opposition that she's faced in the UFC for a long time. Who do you got?
I got Holly Holm. I mean, to be honest, I think this is a bad matchup because, Mayra is, to me, she's so stiff like a board and she's slow like a turtle. That combined with Holly Holm, who I think is going to be very dialed in this fight. She's just quick at reacting, quick at striking. She's more like a chess player fighter, more of a counter striker, but they land really heavy. And for someone like Holly Holm, she's going to just find openings all day long, and you can I would say Holly. I like the over in it. I would say decision Holly.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And I'm super, super happy and relieved to hear you pick Holly Holm. I did, was on the border here of playing a Holly Holm moneyline ticket here. I think that she's going to win a dominant 5-round decision. And to hear you pick Holly Holm and not pick Silva definitely makes me feel good in my pick here. So give me Holly Holm to, showcase her skill, her experience, and her just high-level fight IQ to win a 5-round dominant decision.